the man, the myth, the legend, Roy Ayo. Roy is a backend developer at Bitovi with over 5 years of experience working with Node, PHP, and Python. He has a passion for system design, data science, and automation. He's worked in various fields and aspects of technology, from large-scale companies to startups, and outside of work, he enjoys playing video games and reading books to grow his own knowledge. Take it away.
Hello, my name is Roy Ayo. I would be doing an introduction to HatchifyJS. This is a new library being built by Bitovi. Hopefully it's the next best thing. I would mostly be speaking about the server side of the technology. The front end side is still being built, but the server side is supposed to be known as the all-powerful middleware. The goals of Hatchify in general is to allow its users to integrate a full stack application that is totally JSON.API compliant. It should also be able to allow its users to decrease the amount of time they take to build a specific project. And HatchifyJS really shines in projects that are really data intensive, and projects that have like rich tables and forms are where HatchifyJS is going to really shine. This is a very simple example of a project that is quite data intensive. It is the staffing app. This is an example of an employee page, and these are the attributes. You can see a name, a start date, end date, and a relationship with the employee, the skills, right? And on the same page, you can see some actions like delete, edit, view a specific employee. And these are the actions that HatchifyJS would help speed up. Tech stack for HatchifyJS, the front end is still being built, so it's in progress at the moment. But the service layer right now that I would be speaking on uses NodeJS core. It is totally JSON API compliance, that's REST, and it also uses Sequelize as its ORM. To build your data intensive application, there are basically 4 steps you have to do. Define your schemas, then pass your schemas into the HatchifyJS library, and you should call the HatchifyJS middleware, the all-powerful middleware, and you let HatchifyJS just do the magic. And here I'm showing a very basic example of defining your schema. To define your schema, everything you need to specify is the name, attributes, relationships. So if you can see here, we have name, start date, end date, and a relationship with skills. So all you have to do in your schema is to define the name of your table employee, and then the attributes. You can see name, start date, end date. And for the staffing app in general, it has relationship with assignment and skill, but from the picture shown, just a relationship with skill. And this schema looks very close to a Sequelize schema. So if you already know Sequelize, the learning curve for this schema is really small. And this is another schema being defined. For the staffing app, you define around 5 schemas: assignment, employee, project, role, skill. And this is just showing a very basic example of another schema being defined, a skill schema, and it has just the name and its relationships with role and employee as previously stated. And now using core with HatchifyJS. Here, there are around 6 steps in total. Create a basic core application. And 4 of the steps are you basically initializing your core project, and that has nothing to do with Hatchify. Then just 2 of the steps are really what Hatchify needs to give you a full, free out-of-the-box service layer that is totally powerful and it conforms to JSON API. You can see step 2, create a scaffold instance containing your model. And this is where you pass in the schemas, assignment, employee, project, role, skill that you've previously defined. And in the 5th step, attach the scaffold default middleware to your. That is all you need. Just call Hatchify middleware, and it's going to create a full application for you, full service layer for you, with just a quick intro into what JSON API is. So JSON API is an anti-bike shedding tool. It helps to create a specification on how your project should be built. At Bitovi, we really recommend using JSON API because, again, it helps with bike shedding. So it ensures that we don't have to go back and forth. So how the client should format their request, how the server responses should be formatted, and how query strings should be interpreted, and relationships and many more are all defined in the JSON API configuration as standard. So HatchifyJS leverages JSON API. So you can see the requests on the left-hand side. If the server has defined this Hatchify middleware, if it uses the Hatchify middleware, you can basically call a request this complex, fetch employees, and you add a sort a page, you add fields to filter, and you can add like an extremely complex filter. As you can see, I'm doing an and, any greater than in just the query. And HatchifyJS would convert this query into a syntax that is recognizable by Sequelize, and is going to give you back a response befitting whatever query you request for. And it also handles like really complex include. You can see an include there having skills, assignments, role, or projects. That is like a 3-layer deep include. HatchifyJS is going to break it down into various associations and give you a payload in a befitting way. And HatchifyJS supports all CRUD operations. So with the all-powerful HatchifyJS, you get access to a completely functional CRUD application based on your schema. It also supports really complex relationships that are not normally supported. On the left upper side, you would see me making a post request, and then for assignments, adding the attributes for assignments, start date, end date. And I'm also including an object with a role and an object for an employee, including the name and start date. What HatchifyJS would do is it's going to recognize there is an association with assignments and role and employee, and is going to assign the role ID to this assignment, to create the assignment, assign the role ID, create this employee newly for you with a name and start date, and it will also assign this employee in just one request from the client side. HatchifyJS is going to totally understand this complex body and break it down for the database. And it also supports doing that for patch requests too. You can see on the left-hand side, the lower side, this is a role ID that we are patching. We are changing the name to role renamed, and we are passing an array of skill IDs. And HatchifyJS is going to clear whatever skill ID represents for this role and replace it or reassign it with this new skill. It's really, really complex. It's really, really powerful, because you can have like deep layer includes our deep layer relationships going 5 to 10. Not really tested 10 associations, but with like 5 we have tested, and we see HatchifyJS really break down this body into the required association. So another thing HatchifyJS supports out of the box is virtual properties. Even though this is available for people using like Sequelize normally, there is a new feature with include in the Hatchify schema that is not present in Sequelize. And you can see we are including a deep layer association, assignments.role.project. What Hatchify would do for you is remove this include and would convert this schema into a Sequelize schema, remove the include, and totally recognize that your getter needs this include, and you can access this .assignments.role.project.name in your getter, which is not normally possible, but with HatchifyJS, it is totally possible. And also the client side can request, you can see field employee and request ID name current project, which is the virtual property. And you do not need to know what to include or what association would return current project. And HatchifyJS would automatically include whatever is required and give you back your response as needed. And also error handling. Again, with the Hatchify middleware, you've only specified one line and you've had like numerous features. You also have error handling available to you. You do not need to have any error handler. HatchifyJS will totally format the error in a JSON.API compliant way. You can see it in the left lower side. You can see a response totally usable by the client side and understandable by the client side. And HatchifyJS is going to do that for you. And if you decide you do not want to use the HatchifyJS controllers, or you want to define your own and just want to use the HatchifyJS error handler, it exports an error handler for you that you can totally like just use. If you see app.use Hatchify error handler, and everything would work out of the box in a properly formatted way for JSON API. That is all. Thank you very much.